In the 2 years since I began storyboarding a 4th season of Transformers Animated, I've had a lot of help along the way from voice actors and other friends of mine who have made contributions that helped make it happen. Every storyboard episode I drew, which involved keyframe movement, couldn't have been done without my friend Hannah No's Crayola tracing lightboard, which she let me borrow for 14 months, between 2017 and 2018. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks to Mr. Dimmick, who let me record in his closet after school and during lunch, several times a week for my entire sophomore year. And thank you Mr. Bridges and Miss Swartout, who have let me use their practice rooms in the time since. Mr. Quint has been a huge asset in helping me understand some of the more advanced editing programs that I've used in recent years. I've told this story before, but all of these voice actors started as high school students. Some still are high school students. I, a member of the class of 2020, was a sophomore when I began storyboarding 2 years ago. I assembled compilations of every single character speaking and presented them to Miss Plum, the theater teacher, who went through them and suggested which students would be best for which roles. The first actor I picked was Hannah Cornelius, who played Sari Sumdak. When I was a freshman, I watched her, a year older than me, act in a class production and very distinctly stand out above everyone else.
Not to Tessa. I'm a useful asset to Tessa. Everyone else is a threat.
She was a natural choice to play Sari. Upon graduation, she moved about an hour away for college, and so I actually drove to her apartment to re-record Resurgence Part 1 in all future episodes.
The whole time, we heard everything.
I hate when I have emotional revelations and I thought I was sneaking listening about it. I was lying to myself the whole time.
I miss them, Dad. So much.
She's kind of been the face of the process in my mind, and I'm really glad that I've gotten an opportunity to work with her. Mason Eckley approached me in the cafeteria when I was early in the casting process and said that he'd love to voice a character. At the time, I didn't have any roles in mind for him, but he was really interested in the project and he wound up voicing Optimus Prime. We developed a fantastic rhetoric and our recording schedules were always among the fastest, usually taking only 1 take per line. I love Mason. Harrison's in my grade. He's 6'6". He's a towering presence in any room he's in, but he is easily one of the most kind-hearted and nicest people I've met in high school. He was the perfect choice for Bulkhead. He's also the judge in the talent show video.
Wasn't that talent just transforming? I don't think you're using the word right, Harrison.
And on my other channel, he's the voice of the Mega Battle Orca. And the man inside the Transformer robot Thomas costume.
Hard to see through this.
Oh, you can't see it all.
I've known Darion for many years, and seeing as he was interested in voice acting at the time, things couldn't have worked out better. He nailed the performances of 6 characters he knew absolutely nothing about outside of like a few minutes of compilations of the general voices and tone. The other Kian Canepa, is the only cast member throughout all the years who actually knows stuff about Transformers, besides Hannah, who vaguely remembers watching Human Error Part 2 as a child. He's been one of my best friends since my freshman year.
I got rid of the boyfriend character.
Good.
Good? Yeah, no one liked him.
Who voiced him?
Me.
Oh.
Look at that random, unguarded Spark fragments, just waiting for me to claim them.
Sonny was perfect as every single character he played. I first learned of him in the same play in which I first saw Hannah, and he was a standout role as well.
Hey, check this. She's gotta go to sleep sometime, mate. And she does, coming out the shadows. I know she's taken care of.
He transferred schools midway through my sophomore year, so all of his recording was completed months before everyone else. Nick Carr is one of the most charismatic individuals I've encountered in all my years of encountering individuals. He perfected the smarminess and outward insecurity of this frustrating, ignorant jerkhole. Outside of voicing Sentinel Magnus during my sophomore year, he was just a stand-up guy and a figure that I always enjoyed seeing. Upon graduation, Nick shipped off and joined the military, but unlike Sentinel, he's not an iron-fisted, corrupt bureaucrat attempting to manipulate security forces into strong-arming and militarizing an entire society and transforming it into an autocracy. Nick's just a cool guy. Nick's sister, Sarah, voiced General Strika. I was in Miss Plum's office saying, I need a girl who can do a Russian accent. Then freshman Sarah, just standing in the doorway, says, I can do a Russian accent. And a week later, she recorded, and she's now my main choice for Strika. I just pitched her voice down a bit, and she's perfect. Slipstream has been played by my former classmate, Jade Fraley. The only reason I keep tracking her down to record is because she's great at it.
Well, You can leave now. Our big emotional moment's over. We bonded. We're done now.
It was truly a lightning in a bottle sensation that almost the entire cast of the show was able to be successfully impersonated by just the theater students available in one program at that time. In the original Resurgence Part 1, my nephew voiced a child. In Springfield High School's iconic chemistry teacher, Jim Tischer, voiced a random teacher. Both of these characters wound up removed from the fully animated version. I was struggling to find a voice for Black Arachnia. That is until one day in Stagecraft, Miss Plum suggested Dio Flight. She did a little impression on the spot and it worked, so I gladly casted her. But when she showed up for the actual recording session, the performance she gave still blows me away to this day. She watched less than a minute of footage of Black Arachnia that I compiled, and she was like, I think I've got it. She did. Dio just subconsciously understood the pain and bitterness of the character and the beacon of hope for redemption.
Never once did you actually try to help me, even though you knew full well where I was, even though you and your team's familiarity with organics would probably make you the most capable of any bot to find a cure.
She wasn't a perfect voice match to Cree Summers, but only Cree Summers is a perfect voice match to Cree Summers. She truly created her own performance, and I don't know if she even realizes just how amazing she was at it. If I were to work for Hasbro someday in a role that had input on the casting process, and there was an animated series which required Black Arachnia, I would legitimately look over the casting pools available and attempt to reach out to Dio to voice this character professionally, because I think she nailed it. Kelsey Wilson voiced Press Secretary Adrius and Slow-Mo, who Tara Strong voiced identically in the show.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I thought this was supposed to be a friendly photo op.
Mr. Mayor, the Mexican government just threatened to cut trade.
You were wondering, this is what reversed the aging process on your turbo suit. Freshened you up, put back that youthful pep in your step.
I didn't even have a concrete motivation to begin with. Nothing, nada, the big zero. I'm down with changing as long as you guys are.
Once again, this was another spot-on decision, and I could not imagine anyone else in the program having played that role. Kyler Deonda was the senior that everyone looked up to and unabashedly loved. I actively sought him out to play Retgar because I wanted an opportunity to work with him. He is one of the most kind-hearted people I've ever met, and even though he moved away to a performing arts college, he constantly drives hours upstate to visit us at SHS and come watch our plays. The love and optimism which comes out of Retgar is just a natural extension of Kyler's own personality. Emily Daly, the voice of RC, was a mentor figure of mine for the first 2 years of high school. She held the house manager and head usher position of our theater department before I did. She held my position at my job before I did. As a freshman, I stage managed a play that she directed. She was another person that I really wanted to voice a character just to work with her, in one last production capacity before she graduated, so I chose her for RC. For the longest time, I couldn't deduce who should play Lockdown, because not a single student had the deep, gravelly voice of Lance Henriksen. Then, one morning, as I walked down the social studies hall, I hear the deep voice of Mr. Stevens. He's talking to a student named Jay around the corner, and it hit me right there. His natural speaking voice sounds like Lockdown.
How about you be a bot and face me face to face?
For some reason, that never dawned on me while attending his class for an entire semester. On the spot, I asked him if he wanted to voice act for me a month down the road, and he said yes. Come recording day, he perfected it, having never heard of the show or the character before. He was great as Lockdown. Trenton wasn't a theater kid at all, he was a choir kid, but I just loved his voice, and he was the funniest person in my Spanish class. Then it just hit me, could he play Prowl? I put him to the test, and after having several other theater students read his Prowl as well, Trenton was the best choice. He came in one day after school, recorded for an hour, and went home.
Starscream now has control over all Cybertronian life. Your organic half must be what's allowing you to resist him.
Julian Chavez recorded 4 lines as Rodimus Prime. Gretchen, a student in my grade, is one of my best friends in high school and could literally play every single female character in the entire show. Every program has that one actor or actress who's multifaceted in every respect. At Springfield, it's Gretchen. So I thought it'd be really funny if she played an 8-year-old brat who contributed almost nothing. And even that, she nailed!
Are you really suggesting that we attacked the big naughty robot?
Good job, Gretchen. Then came summer of 2018. The seniors graduated, and I didn't have a means of contacting all of them. Many of them I've barely talked to since they graduated. During the summer, I decided to take what was originally intended to be 13 episodes and expand it to 16 episodes, spawning the Machine Churian Candidate, a second part of Ideals, and a third part of Optimus Rising. These needed additional dialogue recorded, Returning to school in September, now a junior, I got most people to reprise their roles, but some were unavailable. Hayden Wilford took over Kelsey Wilson's role as the press secretary and machine Turian candidate. I noted one day in stagecraft class that Mackenzie Zenz sounded a lot like Dio. Everyone around me was like, what? What does that even mean? No. But I stood firm. And then, needing 2 new lines recorded for Black Arachnia, I decided to have Mackenzie do it, hoping no one would notice. And yeah, it's possible. People noticed and didn't comment, but as far as I know, these 2 Black Arachnia lines, performed by a different voice actor, went completely undetected.
Don't call us that, please. We need to get back to Kaon before the seed recharges. The feeling's not mutual.
And Mackenzie's also recorded for future videos as Black Arachnia, fully assuming the role. Great, the storyboards are done. After uploading Optimus Rising in December, I just relax for the rest of my junior year. But then as soon as summer starts, I learn how to animate. My nephew's 2nd episode, Bumblebee and Optimus buy ice cream, Swindle betrays lockdown, Death Sticks.
Wanna buy some Death Sticks?
My coworker Trinity at this point convinces me to animate Resurgence Part 1. But so much of that audio was trash.
Do you know how big space is?
I'm an idiot. Mr. Clint just taught me last month that you can raise and lower the input volume on a microphone. For 2 years, whenever I needed a character to yell, I just had the actor stand at the back of the room, away from the microphone, and just yell their line until the audio didn't spike into the red. So much of it needed to be re-recorded. Not just for Resurgence Part 1, but for all the episodes if I ever decided to animate the rest. I now had to re-record all 16 episodes. I reunited with Darion, drove an hour to meet Hannah, caught Kyler and Jade on visits, SHS, etc., but not everyone was able to reprise their roles. Some were busy, Nick was in the military, etc. So, returning to school in September 2019, a senior, I introduced new inductees to the Transformers Animated Season 4 family. John Nidrost, a senior in my grade, took over the role of Optimus, and has a clear understanding of David Kai's performance, matching the tones and inflections that only animated Optimus speaks with, to a T. I'm looking forward to more of John's recording as Optimus being heard.
What do you want, Sentinel?
What do you want, Sentinel?
Levi is the new voice of Sentinel Prime, and he has recorded a lot as this character, both re-recording the episodes and for many new animations as well. He delivers a great representation of Sentinel's brashness, and I cannot wait for more of his role to be seen in the future as well.
Well, Organic, your friends are in direct violation of Cybertronian law.
Well, Organic, your friends are in direct violation of Cybertronian law.
PJ is an insanely hilarious and entertaining sophomore who just talks in a Detroit accent for fun sometimes. So I scooped him up and had him record his fan zone. Perfect match. The energy he brought to the table was fun, and I loved working with him. He has recorded for several shorts as well.
The Detroit Police Department isn't exact. Oh, I'm gonna do this again. Yeah, okay. The Detroit Police Department isn't exact. Oh, God. Okay.
In addition, Isabel Gibson has lent her voice to RC in the re-recording of the episodes. Rihanna Bratton has voiced Clobber, female Lugnut, in a Cyberverse-inspired video releasing soon. And Kobe Roebuck has recorded dialogue as Ultra Magnus, and is doing a far better job than I did when I voiced Ultra Magnus. Erica Walker, Bradley Albitz, Haley Emerald, George Perry, and Finn Lusby have provided vocal cameos as extras in Resurgence Part 2, coming soon, probably, who knows? Jaina Ray, Jalen Young, and Zach Vega have lent their voice to an additional animated project set for release in the near future. Over the last 2 years, I've seen many comments thanking me, and I've always felt guilty for this because it wasn't just me. It took a team of people, all generously donating their time for these projects that they themselves didn't have any real investment in. They were just being nice, and that deserves to be appreciated. Clap. Clap for them, just wherever you are, just clap!